Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel and more Blood and Plunder here as we wrap up the last few of the English commanders. Somehow, first time through, I think we managed to forget about William Kidd, the infamous William Kidd. So let's take a look at everything that Kidd offers us, and it is quite a bit. So he's definitely one of the top tier commanders out there. You're going to pay a lot of points for that, but he does have some awesome abilities and stats and all that. So 28 points. We've previously covered all the factions. So we have Kidd's Privateers, right, his own custom force, but you could also try him out in English Buccaneers or Brethren of the Coast, so tons of flexibility with being able to employ him. Does have the brace of pistols and the standard melee weapon as well. And a large part of what you're getting for those 28 points, aside from his actual special rules, though, is a superlative 20-inch command range, right? So for playing on land, we're covering just such a huge amount of territory where his command range will still be in effect. So really good stuff there. And then obviously if we're on the water, 20 inches is again still quite a bit of territory. Certainly easy to cover his own ship and probably some ships nearby too, depending on where you put them, right? Then we of course get the 3 command points, which we'd expect from a legendary commander. So all in all, pretty good stuff there. And then his 3 abilities, a little bit surprising, given how famous or infamous he was, and all the points we're spending, that we don't get maybe that 4th ability, but it's still pretty good. So obviously a little bit more geared towards being on the water. Expert broadside, we've seen that quite a bit. Obviously better than just plain old broadside, but makes him very formidable when his ship is unleashing a broadside, right? We get all the benefits of broadside, which again gives us more chances to get a crit because we're rolling all the cannons together. But then if we roll a 1 on the crit roll, I think then basically we get a reroll or on the lucky hit. So just strictly better than plain old broadside. But then we also get Sailing Master. So again, he's going to be quite the expert at maneuvers. So basically once per turn, a unit with him in it can take a free action. We always like free because then we're not having to waste our precious actual actions to do that. But we can attempt an advanced maneuver that will temporarily increase or decrease the ship's speed. If it's successful, we can up it or lower it by 1 the next time it moves only. Now, this is allowed, even if it would increase the top speed of the ship. But if you do that, basically you do take a lucky hit in return, and it's applied to the rigging. So, and you can only essentially be under the effects of it once per turn. So lets us really customize, where we need to be with that extra movement. It is only the plus or minus 1, but sometimes that can be useful. Strict is another one. We've seen a couple of those now, but this one is pretty good. And we're almost a little bit surprised, right, that you wouldn't see inspiring or very inspiring here, like we see with so many other commanders. But Strict is still a very useful ability for us. So during his activation, any friendly unit, and the key thing with that, and we covered this in a previous video, but it doesn't have a range condition, at least unless something's been FAQ'd, but any friendly unit rolling a test may gain 1 point of fatigue to apply a -1 bonus to that test. This may not be done if the unit is shaken or would become shaken. Although, I guess the caveat there, I guess there would be the range because it's during his activation, and if other units are activating, then it's got to be within his command range. So I guess that does make sense after all. So that being said, we can't do this if we, again, are already shaken, of course, or would become shaken as a result of that. But for any clean units, for the most part, right, we don't want to necessarily always risk getting another point of fatigue and then being right away from shaken status. But think about it this way, right? If we have a lot of units that we're keeping within our command range, and then we're activating, or the Kidd's unit is activating rather, and then we're doling out those wonderful command points for different tests, that's letting us get more value out of those, right? So ideally, one of the best uses would be offensively, right? Telling another unit to shoot, for example. Hey, let's take that point of fatigue. Maybe we're already in really good range, right? And with Kidd's really long command range, we don't necessarily have to expose his unit to harm. But if we can get a unit maybe close with some movement, to get again into just really effective command range, or not command range, sorry, effective range bands for the weapons or whatever that they're using, take that point of fatigue and then blast away, and hopefully, we just, maybe roll like all hits. We've seen it happen, and that's well worth the point of fatigue if you just like absolutely wreck the other unit, right? Maybe you cause so much damage to them that they're just wiped out, or they've lost so many guys and they just pile on the fatigue of their own. They get shaken, and just you're making it so that their next activation will be quite ineffective against you. So all kinds of abilities, or all kinds of combinations of actions that we could really start applying that to. And with 3 command points, that gives us quite a bit of territory for that. So a really good combination of abilities. He doesn't necessarily need much more. There's others, right, that we could, again, expect him to have, like so many of the other commanders, but it's for the points. It does more than enough. He's going to be great on the water. Strict is just useful in pretty much any situation, whether we're on the water or on land. And then again, that 20-inch command range is going to cover just about everything that we could possibly need on a force. Right, it's 40-inch bubble, so we can spread our units out and do whatever we need to there. And then the 3 command points is fantastic. We don't necessarily need anything else. That being said, I guess the major thing to get the most mileage out of him would be picking the best force for him. Obviously, he has his own custom force like some of the legendary guys do, but there's the other 2 as well. Hit us up in the comments, guys. Let us know what you think as far as which force he is best at, or which ones you've played and which ones you found the most fun in employing him, and we'll go from there. We got a couple more to go for the English, and then we'll be on to the French. But let us know your thoughts on the infamous William Kidd. We'll be back for more.